the curse and the blessing of being a mother. No matter how old you are, or how old your child or children are, you're going to want to stay tuned and listen to this download. And what I've learned as a master astrologer, working with thousands of clients, and what source and downloads I've received about why we have become mothers. It is the most honored, most reverend, highest ability. And I'm going to digress and use the Bible for this explanation. I'm not a Bible thumping person because I see so many holes and misuse of the Bible. But this seems universal. It may be fitting. Mother Mary. Although I don't think she's depicted properly in the Bible for who she really was. And there's the missing time of Jesus' birth to the age of 33. That whole entire time she was a mother to Jesus. But imagine, given this honor to have a child without even the act, so-called Virgin Mary, if that's even true. However, here she thinks she's just going to have this ordinary child. Why are all of these people visiting her? People coming from afar and telling her that this is the most special child born from God. And therefore, she would, like many of us, be so happy. Oh my gosh, I'm a mother. Not only am I a mother, this is the most special child ever. Don't we all think that? Of course we do. We brag about all of our child's triumphs throughout usually the first few years anyways, until they start becoming little versions of themselves. And then we try to indoctrinate how they should or should not be. Obviously, the followings of Dr. Shefali, who has highly endorsed me, is a great place to start in understanding conscious parenting, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm talking about the mother God, the mother spirit, the mother source, the highest ranking energy out there. And I mean the highest. When you signed up to be a mom, you signed up for a doozy of a ride. And then imagine Mother Mary when Jesus is older. And yes, he has left the house. He is independent on his own. But we know as mothers, being a mother never stops. It doesn't stop until the end of your life. Not even their life, your life. Because it is something that you always, always, always love. Like it is your God, your Jesus, your appendage, another version of you, so we think. And he's walking around, wandering the streets, barely having clothes, only hoping to be fed wherever he roams. No job. He's homeless. And people are ridiculing him, stoning him, torturing him. And yet he also has followers who admire him, are writing about him. And he's going around healing people. And the more that he heals people, the more ridicule he gets. Now imagine in this day and age that you have a child like that. You would be praying for him. You'd be worried. You'd be reaching out, telling him, here's a shelter, here's help, go to this doctor, get refuge. In most cases, that's what we would be doing. And so this is what us mothers go through. Now on a spiritual level, and then of course, he dies at the cross. Who wants to see their own child die like that? Only to be resurrected, reborn in another lifetime. That's how I see it. She had the benefit of seeing it in that lifetime. So the Bible says, when you are birthed to a child, they have chosen you and you have chosen them. You have accepted their choice. And that is an equal handshake of an agreement. Till death do we part. For better, for worse. For goodness and in health. And even if that child is estranged, or you estrange yourself from that child, that karmic bond, the reason you signed up to have that child in this lifetime, that's not over. If you want to learn the highest lesson in life and to evolve spiritually, have a child. Of course, getting married or hooking up with somebody for long, long term dedicating yourself to them for the rest of your life, possibly having their children, definitely will turn you inside out and upside down. If you want to go even deeper, have a child. They will bring up any of your limitations that you need to overcome. What limitations do you need to overcome? Abandonment, loneliness, anger, addictions, loss, a need to be loved, to learn unconditional love, acceptance, non-attachment. Now, going to another theological platform is Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths. Reading the Four Noble Truths, are our children teaching us this? Are we teaching it to them? The truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. And where is that path that leads to the end of suffering? To simply understand that suffering exists. And it has a cause and it has an end. That's part one of the Mother Spirit, the Mother God, the Mother Energy. And this can be the best, most blessing time of this lifetime, is working through that. Whether your mother or your child is estranged or even in your life at all, it doesn't matter. It is still something that we have to work towards. And for you as a child to rise above your mother and your mother's generational trauma. And this is for a global generation, not just for your mother and your grandmother and your great-grandmother and your great-great-grandmother. It is for humanity. As your mother has risen up by climbing a couple of rungs on the ladder. Your mother is European, and she grew up in a war-torn country, and she left with her parents, or she left on her own. That's my mother's story. She left on her own, 16 years old. That was something that she did amongst hundreds and hundreds of thousands of other people to change the suffering that was happening in communism. She did that, and that changed her generation and her mother's generation and her great-grandmother's generation. I am now first generation. My daughter does not know that she comes from that, and that she is the second offspring to continue that pattern. Our story is abandonment. What is yours? That's what I love about doing astrology readings. I help people find that out. Part 2 coming next. Namaste.